It says live video is starting. Fingers crossed that works.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody. This is a regular session of the Mayor and Council, City of Bisbee, County of Cochise, State of Arizona. It's being held on Tuesday, May 16, 2023 at 7:03 at our council chambers. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Juanetta Hill. Councilmember Joni Giacomino is not here yet. Councilmember Frank Davis is excused. Mayor Ken Budge.
Here.
Councilmember Leslie Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Mal Sweet.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Anna Klein is excused. City staff, Stephen Pockins, City Manager, Ashley Coronado, City Clerk, Terry Bagley, Finance Director, Joelle Landers, Personnel Director, Matthew Gurney, Public Works Director, Tim Cox, Police Chief, Jim Richardson, Fire Chief, Joe Estes, City Attorney.
Thank you. So if you please stand for a moment of reflection and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So for tonight, just want to make an announcement about a sister city thing that's going on, the Naco Wellness Initiative, and they're doing a garden party and a fundraiser over in Naco, Sonora. This will be on June 3rd from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. There will be some transportation, and I would like to give a moment to former Councilman Dunn, if you'd like to say something, and what they're doing over there, and how we are, coming together as two communities.
Thank you. You said it all. I understand that you will not be present, but Mel has agreed to be in your stead, and so we're going to have a formal ribbon cutting as part of our sister city relationship with Naco, and so I invite the entire council to be present. Certainly you can park in front of the gate 90s and walk across the border. There'll be a bus there ready to pick you up, taking you to the garden, which is quite, as indicated in the flyer that you received in your packet, is quite an impressive operation. And this is a way of celebrating that and actually doing a formal ribbon cutting with our sister cities. So again, we're excited about what's happening between these two communities and invite each of you to be present.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'll miss it, but I will be out of town at that time. So, all right. We have nobody signed up for call to public, so we'll just move forward with the first general business. First general business is item 1, accounts payable. Do I have a motion?
I move to pay accounts payable in the amount of $278,706.55.
I'll second that. Any questions on what we have in accounts payable this time? Yep.
Well, I have one, but maybe just an explanation on page 3, and it's the amount is just a little off. This may have been presented earlier. 6594 fuel injectors and pump for the $13,083.31. Is this for the fire department, I'm assuming, but can you just...
Yeah, I can take care of that.
Okay.
Yeah, that is one of our frontline engines. Experienced some fuel injection failures. We had to take it over to the Sierra Vista shop and replace all the injectors, and I think there was a couple of other things that needed to be put in the truck once we got it taken apart. It's typically never under $10,000 when we do that, but this time it was a little bit more.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any engines don't come cheap.
No.
Well,
To buy a car.
replacing the engine would be a concern.
Yeah.
Anything else? Seeing none, we have a motion to second to pay accounts payable amount of $278,706.55. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Now, item 2 is approval of the consent agenda. We only have one item, which is the minutes from our regular session on May 2nd. So I move to approve the consent agenda, item A.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as listed on as item A. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So moved. We have no old business, but we'll move on to new business now. This will be item 3. This is a discussion and possible approval of ordinance O-23-11. It's an ordinance of the Mayor Council of the City of Bisbee authorizing the sale and transfer of certain property located at number 1 Cochise Road, City of Bisbee, County of Cochise, State of Arizona, under the city's workforce housing initiative, authorizing the taking of all other actions necessary for the transaction to be completed by this ordinance and declaring an emergency so that it can happen once and not come before us twice. City
Yes.
Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. This is, as you know, part of the workforce housing program, as the mayor indicated. This actually is the first house in the program that we built from scratch on a vacant city-owned lot that we've owned for some number of years. So it is definitely a new house. It will be being sold to a person who is a employee in local government here in Bisbee, and we're very happy to be able to put somebody in a home. That way that person can work in Bisbee and live in Bisbee.
Any questions on letting somebody have a new home? Yeah, go ahead.
How did you come up to the $100,000? What was this based on?
Well, now this one was a little more difficult because of the neighborhood that it's in. You can go. I'll wait. Basically, what we normally do is we try to discount 20% from whatever the market value is in the area. There wasn't a lot of properties in that area that we could use as comparables. So we used the best we could, even though they were over in Warren instead of on Cochise Road, because there just wasn't anything on Cochise Road. So it turned out that the cost basis was in excess. Because it's new construction, we actually spent more on it than we're actually selling it for. So we're going to lose about $1,000 on this one.
That's all just $1,000 from what we paid versus what we sold it for?
Yeah.
And we went through just by clarification, we went through the process of putting it out and
Yeah.
had the vetting and,
Right.
Several times.
This person works in local government, does not work for the city of Bisbee,
uh-huh,
okay, but works in local government.
okay, all right.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion for item 3.
I move to approve ordinance O-23-11, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Bisbee, county of Cochise, state of Arizona, authorizing the sale and transfer of certain property located at 1 Cochise Road, city of Bisbee, county of Cochise, state of Arizona, under the city's workforce housing initiative, authorizing the taking of all other actions necessary for the consummation of the transaction contemplated by this ordinance and declaring an emergency.
I second.
Thank you.
Is that motion long enough for you?
Yeah, just, I was gonna jump in.
Restate. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve ordinance O-23-11. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hill? Aye. Councilmember Chacomino?
Aye.
Councilmember Johns?
Aye.
Councilmember Sweet?
Aye.
Mayor Belcher?
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. So moved. All right, moving on, item 4. This is a discussion and possible approval of resolution R-2307. This is accepting the fiscal year 2024 PSPRS pension funding policy. Just for information, this is something we're required to do by the state legislature, and I'm very happy this year that we actually are meeting all of our goals, so go ahead, Finance Director Carrie.
Mayor and Council, this is the annual PSPRS pension funding policy required of all PSPRS members regardless of funding status. And this policy also formally accepts the city's assets, liability, and funding status. At the end of fiscal year 2022, the status was at 97.6% funded, with just under 557 unfunded liability, and that remaining liability was paid in March. So the plan is going forward is to maintain the fully funded status and set up a $1.5 million reserve fund to use towards any unfunded liability that might accrue in the future.
Yay. What else can I say? Any other comments or anything on this?
And you believe it's doable? You'll be able to meet that? Okay, based on what?
Being 100% funded, and then we'll get that reserve fund in the next 3 years.
Yeah, we budgeted to put aside $400,000 next budget year.
Okay.
So as long as the revenue.
3.5 years, we'll have that
Okay.
in place, and then whoever stays after me won't have to worry. Anyway,
Leave it in good hands.
yeah. All right. I'm not so proud that we got this PSPRS under control that I'll actually make a motion that we approve Resolution R-2307, accepting the fiscal year 2024 PSPRS pension funding liability.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, the second, for item 4 to approve Resolution R-2307. All those in favor signify, oh, it's a resolution. Roll call.
Councilmember Hill. Councilmember Giacomino.
Aye.
Councilmember Johns.
Aye.
Councilmember Sweet.
Aye.
Mayor Budge.
Aye, thank you. Motion passes 5-0. So moved. Okay, moving on to item 5. This will be discussion and possible approval of Resolution R-2308. This is designating Carrie Bagley as our Chief Financial Officer, CFO for fiscal year 2024 for the purpose of submitting the city's annual expenditure limitation report to the Arizona Auditor General's Office. I'm going to let you handle this.
Well, you probably, you said it all. It's just a formality that the Auditor General requires to designate somebody who's responsible for submitting the expenditure limitation report. So that will be submitted after our next fiscal year 2023 audit.
Any questions on letting Carrie be the responsible?
We did that last year and she did okay, so we'll do it again.
Oh, no, let's take the motion.
Okay.
Well, if that's the bar, then it should be.
Okay. I move to approve Resolution R-23-08, designating Carrie Bagley as the CFO of the City of Bisbee for fiscal year 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution R-2308. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hill.
Aye.
Councilmember Giacomino.
Aye.
Councilmember Johns.
Aye.
Councilmember Sweet.
Aye.
Mayor Budge.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. So moved. Item 6, this is a discussion and possible approval of Resolution R-2310. This is approving a 5-year lease with the United States Postal Service for the facility in Old Bisbee at a rent of $59,815 per year, effective January 1, post-dated 2023. Mr. Pocken?
Yes, thank you. This is one of maybe 2 items that were already pending before the city when I came back to work 2 years ago. And so this has been a long, drawn-out odyssey. And just to maybe review some of the important details, because you're all aware of the debate over the opening and closing of the doors at the post office at a reasonable time for the postal customers. The one thing that also happened that we want to reiterate is that the real estate firm who handles all the leases for the Postal Service basically told us that the rent was going to be $59,815 a year. That was about a 3% increase over the last lease. But we also noticed when we read the lease that they had increased the, I'm just going to call it commission because we're dealing with a real estate broker. It had gone up from about $3,000 to about $12,000. So among the things that we started discussing with them was whether or not it was really worth $12,000 to go through renewing an existing lease. And so we negotiated that down, and I believe it's listed here somewhere around $3,000. I think we've got it $3,380. What that actually did, because the way they had proposed it to us with the small increase in the rent and the big increase in the commission, we were actually going to net less over 5 years than we did the prior 5 years. So this doesn't really make us a whole lot more money than we made in the past. But I also did have one of the local real estate brokers do an analysis of rents on Main Street. And what we're being paid is in fact pretty competitive for the market. So we're doing okay. So that part done, then of course, once we were able to get it to you for consideration, the issue of the hours the lobby would be open came to light. And of course, that consumed another, 3 or 4 months of our time negotiating that. And of course, once we got to the point where we agreed to put time locks on the door so that the doors would lock at 7 instead of at 4:30. And Matt is still in the process of obtaining cameras to put cameras both in the lobby and on the front door on the outside so that we can also monitor what people are doing with the door. So as luck would have it, we opened up for the first time one day last week. And out of sheer force of habit, while the doors stayed open until 7 p.m., one of the postal workers took that chain screen and pulled it down and locked it right in front of the door. So the first night was a loss. But Matt got on the phone with the postmaster first thing the next morning, and hopefully that little glitch won't happen again. We're also having the police go by around 7 p.m. just to look through and make sure nobody got in. We did have an occasion a night or two ago where somebody got wise to the timing and put a rock in the door. So when we went by, we took the rock out of the door. And no system is perfect, but hopefully this is still going to be way better than what we've been living with for the last few years.
So the lock that you're gonna put on, is it I don't know how to say this. No, but is it, once you get in, are you in, or can they come out?
You can come out.
Okay,
There's a button on the side,
Oh, okay.
right-hand side, if you push it,
okay.
it unlocks it. You go out and-
Yeah,
Like the cemetery.
we really don't like to lock people in.
Yeah, I don't know.
And, well, that depends, I suppose, but we're trying not to. So anyway, the lock is magnetic and it has a pulling force of what,
1,200 pounds.
1,200 pounds. The average human being isn't going to open it.
It's also a keypad so that police or
Yeah. And
Authorized people can
emergency
get in.
services personnel will have the combination so they can enter the building if they need to. So with that, staff recommends approving this lease.
Yeah, it's only 40 pages, so you figured that out by the page.
You definitely made them earn their commission. this time.
Well, all I know is how many times I'm gonna have to sign it. That's it. All right. Any other questions on we're very happy to hopefully, and one thing I will mention is I'm asking for, and I know we'll receive some new signs that will be put in front of the 4 parking spaces in front of the post office, and we're gonna try to start enforcing that on a much more consistent basis, and we're gonna ask people, so that you can get there, get in, get your mail, get out, and you won't have as much problem. So these people respect each other and use those spaces and let it open as much as you can for the public. We all have to go get our mail since it doesn't deliver to us that live in Old Bisbee. Entertain a motion for R 2210.
I move to approve.
Okay, go ahead.
I move to approve resolution R 2310, approving a 5-year lease with the United States Postal Service for the facility at Old Bisbee, in Old Bisbee, at a rent of $59,815 per year, effective January 1, 2023.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution R 2310 for the lease of the at the post office. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hill.
Aye.
Councilmember Giacominno.
Aye.
Councilmember John.
Aye.
Councilmember Sweet.
Aye.
Mayor Budge.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. So moved. Moving on to item 7, this will be a discussion and possible approval of the use of engineering services with Zacatecas Engineering to complete the site survey work and structural repair evaluation. Go ahead, Mac. I was waiting to see exactly what it's going to be for. It's for Cam Malcolm.
Yes.
That's what I was
Yes, it
trying
is.
to dig out of my mind. Thank you.
And I'm going to have Mike Norman, he is the
Yeah.
Camp Naco project manager. I'm going to have him go ahead and kind of let you know what it is, what we're planning, what we're wanting to do. So, go ahead.
And by the way, welcome, Mike.
All right, yes.
Yeah. You're going to be here once or twice, I think.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, well, thank you, Mayor and Council. So the first item is request for contract with Zacatecas Engineering. Mr. Kerr with the owner of Zacatecas is here. And so we have 2 items that we're requesting approval to for Zacatecas Engineering to do. First is a survey of the property there to establish baseline information for future site design and planning work. And the second is to provide a structural analysis for the repair of 2 brick chimneys that are located on 2 of the structures that are currently have a contractor doing adobe preservation on those 2 structures. They're what's remained after the roofs had failed and the structures collapsed. So we're doing preservation on those. The plan for those is to be used as future stage area for outdoor events. There's 2 chimneys that are still remaining there that are no longer supported by a roof structure. So they're a little bit precarious at the moment, and so for liability to make sure that they don't fall down, we want to have Zacatecas Engineering do a structural evaluation on a repair solution that was recommended by the Adobe preservation contractor. They'll take a look at it, let us know if that'll work to adequately support the chimneys or if there's a better solution. And then once we have that design and that analysis done, we would either ask the current contractor for a proposal on the cost to repair those or put that out to bid for other contractors.
Okay. Questions? That's very well.
I have a question.
Okay.
In the proposal, toward the end, the total amount was going to be 6890, but it's mentioned, you guys saying that the task is budgeted at 1390. So if the task is budgeted at 1390, we're going to be in the hole here, or can you just explain that to me? Maybe I'm.
Oh, no, sir. The amount for there's 2 tasks involved with this proposal.
Yes.
The first task is the survey,
Okay.
and that one is $5,500.
Uh-huh.
And then the second task is the structural
Which is
evaluation,
1390.
and that one is $1,390. So
Oh, okay.
the total combined
Okay.
is $6,890. And on the bottom, that is shown in the negative, The reason is that when they did the budget this year for this current fiscal year, the city hadn't received the grants for the rehabilitation of Camp Naco. So we have that money now, and it's currently budgeted for the coming.
With the next year, so we will do a reverse.
We'll do a reconciliation.
Reconciliation. Was there any other, was this put out for bid, or just with this, was the other, did you have to put out for bids for this engineering work, or just?
No, the city had previously done.
It's professional service.
Professional services, a procurement for on-call
Okay.
engineering services.
Okay.
And Zacatecas Engineering was one of the firms that.
So there's no need for us to bid it out? Okay, perfect.
So he's already on contract.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for item 7. Ready?
I move to approve the use of engineering services with Zacatecas Engineering to complete site survey work and a structural repair evaluation.
I second.
Have a motion and a second for item 7, which is approval of the use of engineering services with Zacatecas Engineering. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. So moved. We'll move on to item 8. This will be another funding for Camp Naco. This is a discussion of possible approval to purchase 2 20-foot shipping containers from Conex West in the amount of $8,325. And because out there's no buildings to do much of anything right now.
Right.
Go ahead. Thanks.
Yeah, we're requesting this, and this one we did seek proposals from additional vendors. Conex West had the lowest cost proposal. That also included transportation to bring the containers to the site. Requesting 2 20-foot containers. The buildings that are out there now, well, there's 3 reasons why I wanted to purchase these shipping containers. One is for security for the tools and equipment that we're bringing out on site now, and for the building materials. So one of the containers will be used for the city's tools and equipment that we have out there. The other container would be available for contractors to store their tools and materials in while they're working on the site. So the containers they're all steel, they have really secure locks on them. So for security reasons, they're more secure than any of the buildings that are on site right now. Second reason is that a lot of the tools we have out there right now are gas powered. Weed whackers, generator, chainsaws, things like that. And not comfortable keeping the gas powered equipment inside the historical buildings. And then the other thing is we're going to be working inside the buildings on restoring them, so it's easier to work in the buildings if you don't have a lot of materials and stuff coming
In your way.
Yeah. So those are, that's why, and we figured the shipping containers would be the most secure
Way to do it.
container to do it.
Question?
I guess, I have a question, it's a dumb question, but July temperatures out there are gonna get to about 105 maybe,
Mhm.
and when you have gas-powered things locked up in a metal container, is there gonna be any kind of venting?
We will put vents on them. I believe Public Works has a couple of shipping containers they use for storage now, and they did put vents on the top.
Okay, any questions?
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Will these containers remain on the property even after all of the renovation occurs?
Probably not.
What
At
will you
least
do with them?
at this point, we would, well, depending on what the city's needs are, if the city had another project or if they were needed for storage at Public Works, we could relocate them there. If the city no longer needed them, they could be surplused and then sold at auction.
Anything else?
One second.
Oh.
Another thing with the Conex, we can also move them across the street outside of the main historical area, if we have the fenced in area. We can do that in the future, depends on what the future holds over across the street.
Mr. Mayor, it's a pretty good bet they're gonna be out there a minimum of 4 years.
Yeah, that'll be well used. Keep the hinges oiled.
The only maybe comment I would like to make, you said one would be for the contractors. Why are we, the contractors, they're gonna bid, they should provide their own. So why are we, just a gray line here, why are we providing that rather than them, that I will maybe charge them some?
We could, generally, if the contractor provided it, we'd be paying a cost for that.
Oh, okay.
It would be part of their general conditions, so it could save us some money in the long run.
You could use that as with negotiations,
Yeah.
we're providing that
Yes.
for you. Okay.
The other thing is, I would anticipate that in some cases, the contractors that'll be working out there may be smaller contractors and might not have a container like that. And for example, the contractor that's out there now doing the Adobe restoration, he's keeping his materials and tools outside. So we haven't had any issues at this point, and the site is fenced, but I think as we have more activity out there, more materials, more equipment, there's likelihood of theft or just it being out in the weather. There's some materials like cement or mortar, things like that, that we don't want to get wet, so.
It's coming. Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for item 8.
I move to approve the purchase of two 20-foot shipping containers from Conks West in the amount of $8,325.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve 2 shipping containers for Camp Naco. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Appreciate everything you're doing out there. Looks great. All right, moving on, item 9, this is a discussion of possible approval of an emergency purchase of Phoenix Pump submersible sewage pump. Wow, so much fun. Go ahead, Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So at our Mule Gulch lift station, which is off of Highway 80, heading towards Douglas or the Arizona cutoff, either way. In the lift station, we have 2 pumps that stay and pump, our sewage in the hole. One of those went out about a month and a half ago. So you always have a backup. So we pulled that one out, sent it to Phoenix to get inspected to possibly get rebuilt. We dropped our backup in there. That lasted, a few weeks to 2 weeks. And that one went out as well. So now we are down to 1 pump that's in the hole. It is doing well. We just don't want to push our luck too far. We have one, Phoenix Pumps has one on the shelf, so we want to really jump on this. Otherwise, we can wait 14 to 16 weeks if we go with any other vendors. Usually this is something also that we would, either have a cooperative purchasing or go out to bid, but this is something that we don't want to wait for. Sewage is not something I want to deal with and have a lot of problems with. So. We're asking for us to make an emergency purchase of this for $19,034.29. Sad thing is, 2019 was the last time we bought the pump, and it was $12,000. So, but it's in the budget.
Yeah, I guess if I have to have, so this will be the reserve pump now?
No,
Because we'll have one, we will use it immediately, will this be deployed?
This will be deployed right when we get it. And then maybe in the next fiscal year, we can look at buying a backup one.
Yeah.
At that point, we'll either find a cooperative contract for a pump or we'll go out.
So we don't have to be in this situation when we...
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mule Gulch lift station actually has 2 operating pumps.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one that did only lasted a couple of weeks should be able to be rebuilt, the motor
Yeah.
or whatever it is, so hopefully they.
Well, the one that was in the hole initially, we had that took up to Phoenix Pumps. They looked at it, they got back with us, said it's not rebuildable. And I appreciate that. Yeah, we try and, any pump that goes out, we try and make sure, see if we can get it rebuilt, or something. So just them inspecting it is $1,100. So we still had to pay $1,100. So I don't, this one that was our backup, it's possible, because there just might have been a turbine that broke inside, because we hear a noise, it runs, but there's a noise, so it stopped pumping, so we will be sending that up to Phoenix Pumps, see if that's something that we can get
It could
rebuilt.
still be your backup.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So that could be our backup. If we have-
Yeah, if it can be
Yeah,
fixed, then yes, I'd much rather do that than spend another almost 20,000.
Yeah, you don't get cheaper.
Yeah.
No.
That was the answer, no,
Oh.
he hadn't finished saying what happened to the one that he sent,
Yes.
that was my question.
Yeah, and I did an essay just so I can make sure if I forgot something, you guys could read it there too.
Well, we won't talk about raising sewer fees. That's what's happening. Pumps go up, everything goes up. All right. Any other questions on emergency purchase of a submersible sewage pump? Seeing none, I'll just make a motion to approve the emergency purchase of the Phoenix Pump submersible sewage pump, in the amount of $19,034.29.
I second.
I have a motion, a second for item 9, purchase a new pump for the Mule Belt Station. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none, ayes have it, so moved.
Thank you.
You bet. And our last but not least, number 10. This is a discussion of possible approval of FY24 benefit renewal agreement with Alliance Work Partners for Employee Assistant Plan. Joelle.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I did not have this renewal agreement when I brought the other benefit renewals last council meeting. So this is the renewal agreement for our employee assistance plan handled by Alliance Work Partners. Currently, our contract, or excuse me, agreement with them was $1.84 per employee per month. And so that is now going to be going up, and it's rather than a per employee per month, it is going to be $4,800 annual service, and they base that on market rising cost. The services within employee assistance plan are confidential, which does bring into account I have a very difficult time telling you the usage, because the intent is for employees and also our public safety employees to have confidential services that they can access without having to go through any other, employees or directors or myself if they don't feel comfortable. So the plan is being used. They cannot give me names or details, but I have confirmed that our usage is going up from when we started in the beginning of last year. I do find that the program has a broad coverage base. Another part of this plan, which I think is very considerate and very important, is that this is not just for our employees. This is for our employees and everyone in their household. So if they have children, there are teen services that can be used, counseling services, 1 to 6 counseling services per event per year. And that could be incredibly helpful if there is kind of a emergency situation and you would like to talk to somebody and you don't have 6 weeks to wait to get in to see a doctor to even begin the process. So like I said, I really like that, and I also really like the fact that, again, covering everyone in that household. The old adage of leave work at work and home at home, I don't know who does that. I think we are greatly affected by everything right now, and you do worry. There's probably more worry now than I think there's been previously, just my opinion. And so I do feel like these opportunities where, someone could leave this on a refrigerator, it's as small as a business card. They have other, brochures, things of this nature, which I share with employees. And I say, put it on the fridge, leave it on the kitchen table.
You know, maybe someone in your household wants to pick it up, register, and use the services. In addition to the counseling services, there is some legal access. You can discuss legal issues, financial issues. There's an online resource center for those legal different options. A lot of really neat articles and interactive tools like doing yoga at your desk, and it has like a little video you can watch. I have pulled many articles from the service and shared it with staff. Coping with change, making the best of a stressful situation. I've taken that to different departments at different times and just sat down and said, hey, I know you don't want to talk to me about this. Here's a piece of paper. Here's our, employee assistance plan. If you don't want to talk to me, don't. But please know that these services are available. And at least we are broaching the subject and with multiple opportunities for them to get the information and get the services if they so choose. So I do know that that increase is kind of harsh. Unfortunately, this I believe is just one due to services increasing, and additionally, any municipality with public safety, not just public safety employees, also peace officers and our firefighters. We are required to have this service for those public safety employees. So again, they know we have to have it. And one more thing I wanted to add, I did put down the alternative renewal option, which is CuraLink. And I listed it was $1,560 per quarter, which is not $4,076 annually. That was a typo on my part. That was the annual difference. So the annual cost for that CuraLink is $6,240. I did want to make that correction. And I can take questions if you'd like.
Sure. Questions? Anybody?
I just, so basically this is the 4,800 is flat. There's no additional cost, no?
Annual flat rate,
Okay.
which it will be nice in the sense that what we do now on a monthly basis is I get an email and they ask how many employees we had for the month of May. And I respond 94, and then they bill me for 94 people. So moving forward, it will just be this flat fee that we'll take care of.
Just for clarification, so we used to pay approximately based on the old system, $1.84, which came to 2,146. Is that what the approximate annual before this change in?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's basically almost double.
It's almost double, yes.
No, double and more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any
So I
other,
have
any other questions? It's still, what, $50 a year per employee for 100 employees, so it's not.
Yes,
Yeah.
right around there.
Yeah.
And it's been used, you said, it's been
It's being
utilized.
used,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
again, it's how often do we get to not just provide services for our employees, but their household? It, could be a parent, might not be a child that would be covered on their insurance, it could be a parent, it could be a sibling. We don't know those situations, and so this is, I think, quite a wonderful opportunity for our
It's
employees.
important to have a critical stress debriefing. I used it in my previous past.
Yes.
And so
You would know, yeah.
it's a lot better to take it out there than on your relatives, like husband or wife. All right, any other questions? I'll entertain a motion for item 10. What?
I move to approve the fiscal year 24 employee benefit renewal agreement for Alliance Work Partners for the employee assistance plan.
Second.
Have a motion, a second for item 10, approval of the FY24 benefit renewal agreement with Alliance Workforce Partners. Any other? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Hearing none. The ayes have it. So moved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joel. Item 11, last but not least, anything for our city manager?
Yeah, two quick follow-ups from recommendations that you made earlier. A couple of council meetings ago, you directed staff to follow up on a complaint on parking on OK Street, essentially northish of Youngblood Hill. And so the chief and I and Matt went up there and met with the property owner that made the complaint, called the public. We met with her, and then we also met with the person who lives across the street, who appeared to us to be the object of the complaint. And so things happened. We had some good conversation with both sides of the issue, and the result of which is that the owner of the property on the other side of the street and the tenant of the complainant are being trusted to work it out. So now that's been a couple of weeks, Tim, I think, ago,
Yep.
maybe longer.
Maybe a little bit.
We haven't had any follow-up from them. I followed up with the owner of the property, and she seems satisfied at this point. So,
Thank you.
the other follow-up, we had a visit and a work session with the supervisor at the FAA Phoenix office here a couple of weeks ago. And prior to that, we had a meeting with them, and we had a meeting with one of the property owners out at the airport. At this point, all I can report to you is that I thought, well, everything seemed productive, and all of the issues are out there, and all of the issues were characterized fairly. We did follow up and attempt to start the process of getting the through the fence agreements. And so far, let's just say we have not succeeded in doing so. So, but I feel good because over the last year, the message has consistently come from us, come from the FAA, come from our legal counsel, and so everybody knows what the issues are, knows what needs to be done. The question is, are we going to do it at this point? And I don't want to say any more than that tonight.
Fine. Yep, no, not up for discussion.
But I just wanted you to know that we have been following up.
Okay. Seeing nothing else, my motion to adjourn is not here, so I'll make one. Motion to adjourn?
Second?
A motion second to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.